Alright, we are on the draw here. Match 1 of this league. Rug Delver, of course. I'm pretty skeptical of this hand. We've got turn 1 Visions. Turn 2... I'm praying I hit a land off that Visions and then Interaction too. I don't think this hand's worth it. If these denials were something like maybe a Bolt, one denial might be fine. But I don't really like 2 denials. Denial isn't always good interaction. Neither is Bolt, but Bolt is good against the decks that are going to punish you for keeping 1 island. Delver eventually we're going to play, hoping that we survive the first few turns just cantripping. Nux is going to take a while to come down. I think this is a mulligan. This hand is better. This hand is better. Honestly, it's not that much better, but it does look very much better. Not much as in to a greater scale, second land obviously going on top, but much as in I am certain that I like this hand more than the first one. Being able to scry and then put a land on top, fantastic. The opponent with Blooming Marsh into Thoughtseize smells like, I want to say Abzan, could be Jund, but I want to say Abzan, maybe just green-black rock. I imagine they take Mandrills here. Just a Delver, which pretty much suggests to me that the opponent probably is afraid of Delvers. They might have a Fatal Push in hand, but that's fine. We're going to start off on a Steam Vents, I hear here, but we also might just go for Breeding Pool, which I think is perfectly acceptable. The opponent doesn't know we're on red yet. The opponent doesn't have to know. They also don't know we picked up a land off of our scry. Maybe they were just afraid of double Delver. Here's a second Thoughtseize. Gonna see that Misty, gonna take Mandrills. Possibly a Fatal Push here. That would hurt. Not that we could have played around that. Lightning Bolt. Going to be revealed off the top to transform that Delver. The opponent with perfect information. We could grab a Steam Vents here and cast Visions. I'm not sure we actually want to do that before attacks. I guess it forces the opponent's hand if they're looking to take out Delver. Then again, us attacking also forces the opponent's hand. I'm thinking I would rather tap the Breeding Pool just because we have Bolt in hand as opposed to playing around drawing a Mandrills. Mandrills is the only threat we can cast for 1 green. Don't think I want to play around top decking a second Mandrills. I believe it's the Breeding Pool that gets tapped here. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Whoops. As I talk about how we don't need the green, I tap the green. That's pretty funny. Third land, probably not great. Honestly, I don't want the Scour either. Let's get in there. Now, I have to imagine the opponent uses removal if they have it there. Suggests to me that they don't have removal. Something I like a lot. Maybe they're trying to get us with a Liliana. I imagine, though, you would rather kill the Delver and just slam Liliana, start upticking. That's my inclination, at least. Looks like Abzan confirmed. 2 mana. It's an abrupt decay. That's perfectly fine. Nothing we can do about that. So we're just going to let it resolve. If the opponent goes to us, I kind of want to Scour here. Give us more chances to draw into a threat. I also want to start unleashing bolts, but I think we Scour first. Visions, okay. We milled Misty and Island. Visions and Visions. I think we're going to keep tapping that Breeding Pool. Mandrills, somewhat punishing us for tapping the Breeding Pool, but that's okay. We're going to bottom both of these. They're not great here. And I think we honestly just Visions again. Oh, hey. How you doing, Green Source? Bottom the spell snare. I'm not really looking for counters here. I like the traverse. Thing is, we might just shuffle it away to slam a Mandrills. If we don't play the Mandrills now, we're really not playing around Liliana. No, we're really not. I guess we may as well just slam Mandrills. It's probably for the best. If we keep Mandrills in hand, we're sort of playing around Liliana. I'm going to get the extra red source here. We're sort of playing around Liliana by not exposing our threat to it. But if they have Liliana, they start taking up. Mandrills is awful on that board anyways, so it really doesn't matter. A lot of threats out of Abzan that could stop this Mandrill's cold. A lot of paths out of Abzan that can stop this Mandrill cold. We're just going to get the blue source. Doesn't really make sense to do anything else. Nux is now a fantastic top deck. The opponent apparently very light on threats. Not necessarily in their deck, they might just not be drawing them. This might be the part of the game where burn spells go to the face. Grim Flare, I just want to find out. Instant, land, sorcery. They don't have Delirium yet. We're going to Tarfire that, I think. That's going to get the opponent some card advantage. Start clocking us. If the opponent doesn't have a threat, that's pretty good for us. Steam Vents, not very good here. I don't think we bother playing it. Having to Tarfire the Grim Flare does hurt our burn plan, but we're at 11. Pretty likely that one hit off that flare enables Delirium. A second Grim Flare is going to be bolt proof, which is a problem. I don't believe we want to play the Steam Vents. 4 lands is plenty. Four lands not quite as plentiful for the opponent as they play a third Blooming Marsh, a card very good for Abzan. Delver of Secrets. That's a threat. They may very well have removal, but you know what? That's a threat. And I can run with it. Stubborn Denial looking quite poor here. If we hit a Mandrills or a Goyf, Stubborn Denial is going to look amazing. Here's another Delver. Not going to reveal that. We will swing with the first one. And I don't believe Abzan runs any sweepers in its main. I guess we can check. MTG Goldfish being pulled up here on the second monitor so we don't disturb you guys. I'm 90% sure they don't run a main deck sweeper. Let's look at lists. I don't see any main deck sweepers for the most part. They do main deck Lingering Souls, that's something. Still not really interested in playing the Steam Vents. If I decide we really need the extra land, all of a sudden we can always shock. Not ideal, but I mean we can always shock. Here's Lily Last Hope. Going to tick up. Going to be very annoying. Taking out one of the Delvers. That's another reason I wanted to play out the Delver. They have so much 1-for-1 removal that... I mean, they don't have sweepers, so we basically don't need to worry about that. And they just have a bunch of removal that 1-for-1s your creatures. I think we're going to use the Bauble here. Hope Delver transforms. We're going to take out Liliana with Delver plus Bolt. If we didn't play that first Delver, we would have been in far more trouble than we are in this scenario. I would love to redirect that. On their turn, we naturally are going to use this Bauble. Take a little look-see. See what we're gonna draw. Should be a good time. The opponent with nothing, apparently. Snapcaster Mage. We're gonna draw that first. That's a good one. Delver gonna hit the stack first. Bauble Trigger going to resolve. Put that Snapcaster Mage in our hand. And Thought Scour. Ayo! Hashtag get there, hashtag get there. In for 3. We connected, And with the Snapcaster Mage in hand, I think it's about time we put this into play tapped. We have more action at this point, so the bluff value of keeping the land in hand, not quite as high. We're also just more likely to need mana. Here's a Scavenging Ooze. We're going to respond to that with Snapcaster Mage. Now, we don't have any good counters in the bin here, so this may just be Snap Bolt going to the face. I'm almost certain this is Snap Bolt. We could Thought Scour ourselves first. I may as well sequence properly. We might hit a Scour. We didn't. We did draw Nux, though, and that makes this Snap Bolt play all the better. Lower the opponent's life total. They're going to try to gain some life. We're going to play a hasty Nux and swing. Batter, 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 swing. Naturally, we want to get Snapcaster Mage on the table before Scavenging Ooze resolves. I guess we could wait. We don't necessarily need to actually cast the bolt yet. Now we're obviously going to cast the bolt. I figured give the opponent a chance to screw up. Maybe they try to exile the bolt in our yard. Scavenging Ooze eats one creature. Scavenging Ooze eats a second creature. Come on. Eat. Manja, manja, Ooze, manja. Okay, they're going to go to 8. I don't believe this is a lethal attack. They're also holding up removal, which is notable. I was going to say annoying, and it is, of course, somewhat bothersome. We don't have the mana to play Nux, give it haste, and grow it. If we don't win, do we lose? The opponent has no manlands in play. Not a lot of reach in the Abzan deck. How many creatures in the bin still? 1, 2. 2 creatures in the graveyards. So if they eat Snapcaster Mage, push Aberration, take 4 off of Nux. Scavenging Ooze going to grow by 4. They'll be at, we'll take 9 off of the Ooze. Collective Brutality could kill us, but we've got this denial, so I think we're mostly safe from that. I actually might just swing with Aberration here. Go for the slow play. I kind of like that better. It's better against removal. I don't want Nux to get eaten if we're not getting a bunch of damage in. Oh, actually, that was a misplay. That was a misplay. That was huge. Oh, geez. If they had a Fatal Push, we would have been in a bad spot. I definitely should play this first. No doubt in my mind, in retrospect, that we play Nux first. That way Denial actually gets turned on. Do we play this Foothills? That's a good question. Self? I don't think the shuffle's worth it just yet. Maybe if we draw another Bauble, another Delver. Green, Ooze gonna grow again. Yep. It's also relevant that if we don't put creatures in the graveyard, Scavenging Ooze can only gain them so much life. And Delver of Secrets chipping away at the opponent's life total here. Stubborn Denial, definitely a boon at this point. I don't think the opponent attacks here. Well, they do. I'm not that afraid of it. Scavenging Ooze is a 6/6. We have no creatures. They have a creature. We take 7. That's perfectly acceptable. It's extremely unlikely that we're going to die. They're eating Liliana. Are they just trying to minimize Tarmogoyfs at this point? I'm really not sure. We go to 4. If they have 2 collective brutalities, they can try to win. We're going to denial one of those brutalities. Here's a Lingering Souls. The opponent's going to be able to cast the second half of this. We counter this. They cast the second half. They chump. That's annoying. Well, we force them to block Nux, so that's good. That means they won't be able to trade with Delver. We hope they don't have a second one. I do think we counter this here. If the opponent gets 4 spirit tokens, we're in a terrible spot. So I believe we want to stop that from happening. Good top decks would be nice. Unfortunately, that's not one of such top decks. Savage Knuckleblade has to be blocked. Delver of Secrets, not so much. We're going to leave Snapcaster Mage to hopefully block the Scavenging Ooze. We definitely need to clock the opponent here. No doubt in my mind. They're probably going to go 1 and 1. I can't imagine they want to be dead to Bolt. Yeah, that's just going to happen. If I really want to not be dead to removal, we can bounce Nux, crack a fetch, and put Nux back down. That line seems pretty bad. Puts us to 3. Means we're dead to Brutality. We're still dead to Brutality. Makes the line seem less bad. Do we still have a basic forest in the deck? We still have a basic forest in the deck. Yeah, let's just not be dead to removal. Why not? Knuckleblade. Come back. That's a neat play. Now we're not dead to a single removal spell. Look at that. Knuckleblade with the pseudo vigilance. That was cool. I dare say that was cool. We're going to chump. That's a neat little... Seriously, I am having trouble getting over how cool that Knuckleblade play was just there. Grimflayer, pretty bad for us. Not sure we have many outs at this point. Oh, Spell Snare, come on. That's rude. That is very, very rude. No creatures in the bin. We definitely swing with Aberration. Do we swing with Nux as well? Do the same thing we did last time? They don't necessarily have to block. I think we do. Puts creatures in the bin for Flare. Well, actually, no. Puts creatures in the bin for Skoos. I kind of like swinging with both, doing it again. We don't really have anything better to do. Nux is a neat little mana sink. Spirit chumps. Grimflayer chumps. One creature going to hit the bin for Scavenging Ooze. Knuckleblade's going to come back. It is unfortunate that Scavenging Ooze is going to get them to gain even more life, but at least Grimflayer isn't able to attack. That's something I like. They eat the Grimflayer, yup. For a second I thought they had a counterspell. I'm playing this Misty so we can represent things. As is, the opponent knows we can't cast spells given that we were tapped out. I mean, maybe they're going to play around Disrupting Shoal, but I'm not expecting it. Nux, unfortunately, going to bite the dust here. If it doesn't, we die. So, that's going to be the end of Big Nux. They eat it. We need a bolt off the top. Or I guess another string of handy-dandy creatures, but Stubborn Denial not going to do, so now we have to not attack, chump the Skoos, and I dare say we are in a terrible spot. This game went south. Scavenging Ooze a 10-10. We're going to chump. And I don't think we have outs at this point. Not a lot we can do. Oh, Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag resets Skoos, that's something. The opponent casting spells is bad. We can't counter that one. Cannot counter that one. Can't counter that half either. And that makes our idea to Vapor Snag the Skoos back. Maybe get an extra turn or two. Yeah, that's not going to work. Not going to work. Traverse the Ulvenwald. Would the opponent have been able to put us off of Delirium? We've got 5 card types. They exile Tarfire. We've got some lands. It doesn't actually matter. Do we even cast this? They can't put us off Delirium now, but we're just super dead. Have they seen Traverse? I don't think they've seen Traverse out of us yet. I'm definitely not going to show it to them in that case. We're just super dead, so why give them the information? Inquisition. I'm giving them information scoop. I'm pretty sure they saw anyways, but still. Whoops. We almost didn't give them... excuse me. Almost didn't give them information. Okay. How are we sideboarding? I want the Bedlam Reveler. We're going into a top deck war. 3 Blood Moon seems fantastic. Did we even see a basic? I think there was a swamp at one point. Turns off their manlands that they're inevitably running. I kind of like a one-of Pyroclasm. Lingering Souls, sometimes a Scavenging Ooze, sometimes Grimflayer. It has applications. I don't like both, because it's not necessarily going to be great, but I kind of like one. Mountain, gonna help us a little bit with casting Moon, getting around Path to Exile. EE, definitely something I want here. Would have been a great out to that Scavenging Ooze, and or the Lingering Souls tokens. Flash Freeze gonna counter a bunch of fatties, and we're gonna bring in these 2 Hunt Masters. I'm just gonna take a quick look at their list to see what I'm expecting here. Make sure Flash Freeze is good, and it looks like it counters just about all of their creatures. So I'm 90% sure that's definitely going to come in. Doesn't really counter anything else, but we are expecting a good bit of green threats out of them. What's gonna come out? Let's see. 2 Hooting Mandrill's gonna make some room for that Bedlam Reveler to come in. I'm not actually sure I want to be playing Bedlam Reveler right now. Savage Knuckleblade actually going to come out, even though it did a decent amount of work that game. We know for a fact they're playing Abrupt Decay, and Abrupt Decay is extremely good against Knuckleblade if you don't absolutely top deck it with 6 mana up, play Nux, and hold up the bounce. And, I mean, how often are we actively hoping something like that happens? It's just not that realistic. Nux also dies to Path. Abzan has a lot of good ways to deal with Savage Knuckleblade. Thought Scour's gonna come out. Make some room. 3 Lightning Bolts. Forked Bolt gets the nod here because of Lingering Souls. Potential Bobs, mostly Lingering Souls. Disrupting Shoal gonna go. Don't want to give up too much card advantage, and I'm actually going to board out a Wooded Foothills. We are raising the curve, but we're also boarding in this mountain, and Abzan usually allows the game to go pretty late. So I think I'm okay with only having 17 lands, even though the curve is higher. If I had Scalding Tarn instead of Flooded Strand, I'd board out Breeding Pool instead of the Foothills, keep as many fetches as we can. However, if we board out the Breeding Pool, I am not able to get a green source off of Flooded Strand, and that's really bad. This hand isn't exactly good against discard spells. On the other hand, mulliganing isn't either, and we have a cantrip, so I'm going to keep. Lead on a Steam Vents, go for the Thought Scour. We might mill our only basic forest, but I'm not going to start the game by fetching out a basic forest anyways, so that actually doesn't matter to me. If they do have discard for Blood Moon, hopefully we can do something decent with that Traverse. Maybe we find a threat off of it. Blood Moon, Misty, Thought Scour hopefully turns something over. They might even just leave Blood Moon in our hand and take away our traverse, given that they started on a basic swamp here. Not necessarily, but it's entirely possible. You can always just play around Blood Moon. You don't have to answer it. 4 lands, definitely not ideal for us. I don't think this hand is bad enough to mulligan. Maybe it is. I don't know. You guys can tell me. Go ahead and leave a comment. They took Thought Scour, which is really quite interesting. I didn't want to lead on Thought Scour so that they didn't get to take what we drew off of it, but that is neat. That is very neat from the opponent. I kind of want to fetch here. Kind of don't. Fetching means Delirium isn't quite on. We're going to put land instant sorcery in the graveyard, so we don't really want to traverse. Might just be lead on island and mess up our scry. Well, we found another land. EE pretty good. Vapor Snag a lot worse. Eventually Vapor Snag is going to get better, and we'll probably fetch it back into the deck by that time. If the opponent's letting us keep Blood Moon, I imagine they either have an answer or they're just playing around it by getting these basics. Makes sense. We're probably going to play Blood Moon here and most likely follow it up with an Engineered Explosives. We could always just lead on EE, but right now Bolt still kills Skoos. Leading on Engineered Explosives has the advantage in that it turns on Delirium sooner, which means we can traverse out a threat more quickly. I kind of like that. I also like cutting the opponent off of white unless they have a plains. I think we're just going to do this. The opponent's clock is pretty slow. I think that's fine. I sure hope it's fine. The Engineered Explosives in our hand, given that it can be cast for 0, causing MTGO to not automatically pass priority there. That threw me off for a good second. I guess we basically have to hope this is enough. If they have a discard spell for the EE, I'm not going to be very happy. They just had the basic planes. Well, what are you going to do? Maelstrom Pulse. So they do want to keep that Blood Moon off the table. That's probably just fine. Tarmogoyf. Scavenging Ooze is going to make Tarmogoyf a lot smaller than it could be. I also want to get this EE out of my hand before playing Goyf. Maybe we go EE plus Traverse. Maybe it's just Goyf plus Traverse. We could grab a Huntmaster. We could grab a Bedlam Reveler. No, I think it's Huntmaster. I don't want to be too heavy on the graveyard. You know what? No, they don't have mana up. I was going to say we actually shouldn't traverse because they can turn off Delirium. But as it turns out, they can't. Let's get a Huntmaster for later. Slam this Tarmogoyf. The opponent probably has answers. Then again, we just have to play out our threats and hope that they don't have the ability to answer all of them. Fatal Push, gonna deal with Goyf. Scavenging Ooze, probably gonna get a little bigger. Shambling Vent, something I like turning off with Blood Moon. Scavenging Ooze, gonna get in. The opponent might have their own Goyf, but you know what? If we can blow up two CMC creatures with this EE, I'd be pretty happy. I don't really want to lower my life total any more than it is, so I don't think I'm going to shock here. We'll just play out the Huntmaster. The opponent eating Tarmogoyf. Scavenging Ooze going to be out of Huntmaster range, but that's okay. Path. Well, we're gonna grab another island. We have double red, so we don't need to deal with that, and we might just top deck a Blood Moon. So having the other island, not something I dislike. I do kind of dislike blocking the Scavenging Ooze here, even though the opponent has a pretty good clock. If we get a second creature, we might be able to block a little more profitably. 3 mana for the opponent, 4 mana, Siege Rhino. Uh-oh. Spell Snare not going to do anything good. Stubborn Denial not going to do anything good. Let's bottom both of these. Pretty sure we just blow up that Scavenging Ooze before we lose. We also get to hold up Spell Snare, so that's not bad. X is 2. Let it happen. 2 mana. Blow it up. Deal with Scavenging Ooze. We can deal with the next 2 CMC threat. Shambling Vents means attacking here causes us to lose the game. Also, if we attack, Siege Rhino just eats up our wolf. So that's pretty bad too. Collective Brutality. Well, if we let that resolve, we lose on the spot. So I do think we need to snare it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instants and sorceries in the bin. Bedlam Reveler, a very live top deck here. We don't have to block this. Snapcaster Mage, okay. Okay. Snap, Traverse, Reveler, is that live? I don't think it's live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we snap back the Traverse, we're not going to be able to cast the Reveler because we'll only have 3 lands untapped. And 4 instants and sorceries in the bin due to Traverse leaving. I do believe Snap Traverse is our best out here. What can we get? Huntmaster gains us a little bit of life. Means we might be able to send a bunch of stuff in front of that Siege Rhino. That seems a little bad. Snap Goyf. Snap, Goyf, Hold Up, Denial. How big's Goyf? 5/6 at least. That's probably our best line. Denial means Goyf survives the first removal spell. Artifact, sorcery, land, enchantment, instant, that's 5. Do they have anything? Creature 6. Oh yeah. Target that Traverse. If the opponent has a Surgical Extraction, we're dead here, regardlessly of what we target. Let that trigger resolve. Cast that. Find Tarmogoyf. Cast the 6/7. Hold up Stubborn Denial. We might get there. Attacking with the wolf means we lose to a removal spell plus a land because they can kill the Snapcaster Mage and animate Shambling Vent in the same turn. They might actually just go for the removal on our end step and try to animate, so I think we're going to wait on that attack. The opponent also pretty notably at 23 life. That's a lot. Here's a Liliana. That's going to get countered. If we let it resolve, they take the wolf. If we counter it, they might have a path. If we let it resolve, they also might just tick up, but then they have to discard the path. I think we just counter this. Hope they don't have it. Looks like they didn't, so step 1. Do we attack with the Goyf? We need to close this game, but I don't know if we can afford to. Rhino has Trample. They animate this. We chump. We die. That's bad. So we're dead to a lot of stuff here. We probably need to top deck a second Tarmogoyf. Also notable, we're dead to removal plus land still. Lily, gonna resolve. If it ticks down, we're sacking the wolf. Ticks down. Actually, do we just sack the Snapcaster Mage? That's worse if they top deck a Scavenging Ooze. I think I sack the wolf. The point of toughness, very relevant. with Siege Rhino around. Liliana makes me happy to not play this Foothills. Okay, well, that makes me ever so slightly less happy. Sooner or later, we're just going to lose to Liliana, so we really need to top deck another something good. The Snapcaster Mage was fantastic, but we need another thing. Lily ticks up. Get rid of the Misty. We're going to keep the Wooded Foothills just in case I want to fetch out a basic mountain on a moment's notice. If this is a path, we're just dead. If it's a Cobrew, we're dead. If it's a lot of stuff, we're dead. See, they pitched a Lingering Souls, which means, guess what? We're probably dead. Oh, they're flashing it back. Pyroclasm? Pyroclasm actually gets us killed. Oh, they're not flashing it back. They're just putting a Grimflayer into play. So now they have 2 Tramplers. They have super duper lethal. Yep. We couldn't get there. They don't know we're dead, so I kind of don't want to attack, but at the same time, they probably know we're dead. I think we're just dead. I mean, sorry. I think the opponent is aware of the fact that we are dead, and thus they will attack and kill us. Here's another Lily. Planeswalker rule, look at that. 2 Lilianas on the board. Snapcaster, I mean, we could have mana leaked that, but it really doesn't matter. We're just dead. I mean, if they kill us by a wider margin, they're still killing us. I personally don't really care that we're going to -8. I can live with that. -8 is fine. If it's 0 or less, the damage is done. GG's opponent. That was a pretty fun match. Oh, not sure if we made a lot of misplays there. There were plenty of decisions to be made, as there always are in this sort of matchup. Abzan definitely very good against us. The whole discard plus tons and tons of removal strategy, very good against Delver. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you all for watching. I do hope to see you in the next one. I also hope you'll leave me some comments and let me know where you think I went wrong, so maybe we have a better chance against Abzan. We made a lot of decisions there, and I'm pretty sure they weren't all right. It's pretty hard to play Magic perfectly. I very much doubt I do, so if you guys see anything, please let me know. Anyways, see you in the next one.